So Ireland, I took her in for a checkup, and I had asked the doctor. She had, her head was growing upwards on the right side. They saw something and it kind of freaked him out, the doctor. So he wanted to take pictures and send it to the team that takes care of the skull type of stuff. And usually he said it takes weeks to get the response from the team. And he said they called him back that day. They set up a CT, but being that she's so little, they had to admit her to the hospital and put her under general anesthesia. So we set that up and we went in there and did that. And sure enough, it showed that she had what's called lambdoid craniosynostosis, which is very rare, and 1 in about 40,000 kids will get diagnosed with that, which means her skull fused prematurely in the back, and that's supposed to be the last place where it fuses together. So we had to go back to the specialist again and talk about our options. The risks were great because the MRI could have, it could bring up cancer or different things. And so the next step they did was send her in to have her eyes dilated so they could tell where her brain was at with growing. And we were praying that it wasn't touched because we could, prolong it. So when they looked in her eyes, her brain was pushing on her optic nerves. And they said they had to move fast. They wanted to get everything done before she turned 1. She had to have cranial surgery to give her brain room to grow properly. So then the next step was starting to go up to LA to see the surgical team and the specialists up there. Being that COVID was involved, so far I had to do everything by myself. My husband had to wait outside the hospital every time because it's only one parent. So it just made it really hard. Sorry. And going through the risks of the surgery, it was a lot to take in. I'm pretty sure I kind of tuned it out and I stopped listening because thinking about your baby to have to be cut from ear to ear was a lot. It was a lot. Once that day finally came, thank the good Lord, because for some reason that day my husband was able to go into the hospital with me. And we were both able, we got a really cool nurse who actually snuck him into the back so that he could, give her a kiss and everything before they took her off into her surgery. She was in surgery for 7 hours. And I think it was the longest and scariest 7 hours of our life. Not knowing, how she's doing or anything like that. Seeing her in the recovery room hooked up to all the monitors and the tubes, her face swollen and her body swollen was really hard. They had her wrapped up in like a head cast and they put a little bun on the top. It was super funny. That was their way of kind of, turning something so heavy into lightening it a little bit, I think. And after we left the hospital, we went home and she had to heal. We couldn't let her run around or crawl or anything like that because if she were to hit her head in the right spot, it could kill her. And she had parts of her brain that were exposed and weren't covered with skull. So trying to have, an 11-month-old not crawl or play, you had to keep her in a safe area where she couldn't hit her head was really hard. And I mean, at my work, they were great through the whole thing. I was out of work for almost a month. I think it was maybe a little over a month. And they were really cool through the whole thing. And I told them I didn't want to go back to work until she got her protective helmet, because I didn't feel comfortable with anybody else watching her, no matter how much I trusted them, you know, until her head was secure and safe. She actually got her helmet for the first day on her first birthday. So we were there for hours at that appointment, you know, them taking it off and putting it back on and trying to fit it, and her incision was so irritated, you know. She was a trooper. I mean, she smiled through the whole thing. She was so good. We couldn't believe it. You know, she was a miracle to begin with. We had 7 miscarriages between our girls, and our oldest is 16 now. So I think that was one of the scary things too, is, you know, a chance for her to be taken from us after we fought so hard to have her. The struggle was real, you know? So, I mean, that's about it. She's doing really good. Her hair is growing back. She's gonna have to be watched till she's 8 years old. She had a blood transfusion, you know, during the surgery, because she lost a lot of blood. So they've been watching that, but every appointment after, she's done really good. So it's a great blessing. I just want to thank everybody who was involved with the Christmas blessing, because that took a great burden off of us that we would have never asked for help or anything like that. You know, that's not in our nature. We just go to work and take care of our family. But it was, I mean, there's not words to thank everybody for that.
One of the initiatives are nominations, and so there was 70-something in the nominations. Everybody that's nominated received something. And when we talked to Josh and heard Ireland's story and just the surgery and everything else, kind of captured our hearts, and he let us know kind of what's going on. And so there's a check for $15,000 to hopefully cover the rest of the surgeries. And we just want to tell you we love you, the Lord loves you, and our church is just honored to be able to be a part of what God's doing in your life.